Welcome everyone to the new Fly Fisher. It's fall. It's the best of times and it's the worst of times. It's the worst of times because winter is just around the corner, but it's the best of times because the fish are large, they're aggressive, they're cruising the shallows, stocking up for that winter coming ahead. There's hardly anybody here. It's beautiful country, and I can't think of a better place to stillwater fly fish than the Parklands region of southwest Manitoba. Beautiful fish. And repeat this process. Off you go.
Ooh, that's a nice sized fish.
Absolutely fantastic.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, that's the kind of fish that makes stickers out of it.
The new Fly Fisher is supported by Travel Manitoba, Scientific Anglers, Trout Unlimited, WeatherTech Canada,
If you're a stillwater fly fisher, fall is a premium time to be on the water. At this time of the year, the colors are spectacular, the crowds are gone, and some of the season's largest fish are cruising the shallows just waiting to be caught. The Parklands region of southwest Manitoba is one of my favorite stillwater haunts in North America, especially during the mid to late fall. The productive lakes within this region have been specifically created, groomed, and managed for the stillwater fly fisher. These lakes offer a variety of species to pursue on the fly. Rainbows, browns, brookies, splake, and the seemingly always aggressive tiger trout, all capable of reaching trophy proportions. The peaceful town of Russell is the ideal hub for exploring the Parklands region. Russell offers excellent, affordable accommodation options and all the amenities a visiting angler might need. All of the lakes within the region are within an easy drive of Russell. The lake access is great, and they are all serviced by well-paved highways and good gravel roads. So we're on Patterson Lake, one of the many great lakes in the Parklands, and this is a mixed brown trout and rainbow trout fishery. And one of the predominant food sources at this time of the year and any time of the year in this lake and these lakes are minnows, fathead minnows, brook stickleback. What we're looking for is we're going to go along the edges, the cattails, the long stem bulrush, and the trout will herd these minnows into these regions, and the minnows condense into a tight little school. The water gets all nervous because you've got perhaps 500 minnows in a space designed for 75, and then often you'll see a big surge or wave as that brown trout or rainbow rakes through and snaps up as many as you can. So that's one of the things we'll be looking for here this morning. So we've got fish working shallow, chasing minnows, a few swirling. Got one that came in within range, so we're gonna go over there because if it's a brown trout, they tend to be territorial. So they'll cover that area, go back and forth, chase and feed, and we just have to wait them out, wait for them to come back and hopefully hook up with them. So we got fish busting minnows. We're just cruising the shoreline, looking for signs of a fish swirling, chasing them. And we got two options. First of all, we could fish an indicator rig, short leader, ice minnow like this, silver minnow. You would cast that in. It does land a little more aggressively and you gotta let it sit there because you don't want to continuously cast into that area because you could spook the fish. What I'm going to do though, is I'm gonna take my floating line, and this is a popper fry. It's an English pattern. It's got a foam head on it, so it's gonna ride right in the surface film, and above it, between it and the fly line, I've got a little boatman because they're active as well. So this will keep everything up in the surface, and I can cast and cover the area. It's gonna land gently. My flies are gonna be up near the surface where those fish are busting minnows, and I can cover a lot of water with not much commotion. So let's see if I can make this work, because if they come up and eat this on the surface, it's really exciting. It's basically dry fly fishing. On the surface popper, been cruising along the edges, looking for nervous water and boiling fish. And this is a little minnow pattern with a little foam post on it, so it rides just in the film and creates a little wake. And this brown just came right up. We saw the bow wave right behind it, and it ate it. Excellent. Oh, it's a rainbow. It's a rainbow. I stand corrected. I assumed it to be a brown because that's usually what's cruising in here. So there's usually two approaches. You can go in with an indicator, which lands with a bit of a splat, and you got to let it sit there because if you repeatedly cast and cast, you can spook that fish. But with this popper, and I've got a washing line set up, so this buoyant popper is on the point, and in between it and the fly line, I've got a little boatman too, because they are a common creature in the shallows and also active at this time of the year. So, and he just came up and ate that popper right in the tip of the snout. Look at that. These Parklands fish are so healthy on the diet of minnows and leeches, boatmen, backswimmers, and in the spring, these lakes are riddled with chironomids. So it's kind of crowded over here. I'm just gonna take him quickly on the less crowded side of the boat. I'll let you have a look at it and we'll let him go. Very healthy fish. Look at that. Beautiful fish. Well conditioned, fat, healthy. We'll keep cruising the shorelines and repeat this process. Off you go. So we have a beautiful fall morning. We've got light winds. The colors of the trees around me are just spectacular. What we're gonna do is we're gonna work these toolies. We're gonna fish very shallow under an indicator, suspend flies about 18 inches to 24 inches down, because at this time of the year, the fish are stocking up on protein, and protein in these lakes, in these parkland lakes, is often in the form of fathead minnows or brook stickleback. So we're just gonna move along the shoreline, look for moving fish, anchor a respectable distance away that we don't spook them, but we don't get ourselves into a situation where we have to make excessively long casts, because we'll tend to overpower and really drive that indicator into the shallows, which will spook and scatter the fish. If you do make a bad cast, don't rip it out of there. Just slowly hand twist it back out, get it a couple of rod lengths of line out so you can load it properly, pick it up and shoot it back in there. You don't want to just start picking indicators up, because if that indicator creates any commotion coming off the water, which it most likely will, it's going to scatter fish. So that's the strategy. We're just going to move down these shorelines, hopefully see some feeding fish, see if we can get ourselves a brown, a rainbow, or both. Saw the little rings in amongst these tules at this time of the year in the fall. Bait fish are a prime food source, and this little rainbow is in there hunting not the biggest trout in the Parklands, but proof of concept, and there are other bigger fish in here for sure. This guy's fat and chunky though. Got the little balanced Ticarc in his mouth. But again, look at this. He's small, but look at the belly on this thing. These lakes are so productive. Just a beautiful little fish. There we go. Indicator just went under. Oh, big rainbow. Big rainbow right in the weeds. Shallow water, nowhere to go, is gonna get excited. It's a nice rainbow. These fish are just hunting in here. And minnows are one of their prime food sources at this time of the year. Rich in protein, they school up in the shallows, and these fish will go right into these tules and hunt them. There she goes. Nice plump rainbow. Beautiful colors on that thing. Prior to release, I did a quick throat sample just to see what the food source in there might be. And lo and behold, we've got two little juvenile fathead minnows. At this time of the year, there's lots of these little baby fatheads around, and that's what that fish is targeting. Herding them up, slashing through them, and getting fat and healthy for next year. As we cruise down the shoreline looking for feeding trout, we're also looking for their food source, minnows. Now sometimes you'll see them jumping around or little dimples, but one great thing to look for are grebes. Grebes eat the minnows. So if there's lots of grebes around or a grebe around, that's a sign there's minnows around. And hopefully there's a trout around there too feeding on them as well. There we go. Jeez. Get under control, Phil. Suppress your excitement. I think it's just a little guy. We're not sure of which type we've got here, brown or rainbow. It's got showing a little flash. It's a little rainbow. Little tiny rainbow. That's where juveniles go to grow, before they can swim out into the big water and cope with the larger browns and rainbows. That's a good sign for the future, because in order to have big fish, you need to have little fish they can grow into. Beautiful little fat, healthy, whoa, off he goes. Provincial fisheries biologist Ken Kansas played a crucial role in establishing the trout lakes within the Parklands region. Although Ken is since retired, he keeps a close eye on the lakes, monitoring the current state of the trout lakes within the region. I talked to Ken to review why the lakes were created and how anglers can help continue the legacy Ken, Flipper, and the provincial fisheries started.
The reason we started this project with these fisheries in the parkland was to develop tourism in the area and create revenue. There was extremely good fisheries already, and we just had to enhance them, and we created a few more. The fishery was designed for both anglers residing in the province and from outside the province. I think the uniqueness of this fishery has to be the fact that they grow huge fish in a short period of time, and the lakes are fairly close together. Right now there's probably about 10 to 15 lakes going that are really good. And as far as the future holds, well, that's up to the people. The success was developing a handful of really premium lakes. To this day still are the best lakes in the parkland, that being Twin and Patterson. As far as failures, I think maybe the biggest thing was probably lack of communication over a certain period of time. You know, if you don't communicate, you're not on the same page, things don't go well. I think people need to know more about these fisheries, that they exist, and I think perhaps then people will take hold of the bull by the horn, so to speak, and strive these fisheries forward, because they're very, very unique and very, very fun to fish.
The trout lakes of the Parklands seem tailor-made for float tubes and pontoon boats. They are compact, lightweight, and portable, weighing less than 40 pounds. You can bring them as checked baggage, and they easily fit into any rental vehicle. The lakes are easily accessible by car, offer parking areas to assemble and inflate a float tube or pontoon boat, and have excellent launch facilities. Many of the lakes in the Parklands region are small, easily accessible, ideal candidates for either a float tube or a pontoon boat. And the added benefit of many of these items today is they're easily transportable, come in neat carrying cases like this, allowing you to bring them with you and have an excellent day on the water. The Parkland area lakes has some great launch facilities, whether you're using a boat like this, a float tube, or a pontoon boat. But remember, it's called a boat launch, not a watercraft or boat assembly area. Get your gear, your accessories all ready in the parking lot. When you're ready to go, quickly launch your boat, park your vehicle, and go fishing. Don't be that person that clogs the boat launch so others can't launch their watercraft either. So whenever you're using a float tube or a pontoon boat, remember to be safe. Make sure you have your life vest on, and the most important thing perhaps is getting into them without falling down and hurting yourself or worse. So when you put your fins on, you always want to do it at the water. Never put your fins on dry land and walk down to the water in a forward position, because you could catch a tip, fall over and hurt yourself. Or if you're carrying your pontoon boat or your float tube, you're gonna fall with that. So that's not the way to have a trip out here in the Parklands or anywhere else. So when you put your fins on, you're gonna put your watercraft right at the water's edge. You're gonna lay your fins down right where you're going to, right at the water. Then you're gonna step into them, do them up, sit down in your float tube or pontoon boat, push off. You've left the beach safely, and you can have an excellent day fishing for that day and the rest of your trip. Just stripping a back swimmer back, foam back that rides just under the surface. My greater water floatman, and just saw the head come up, boom, took it. It's like a good tiger. Love it when they're eating the back swimmers. Lead them to the net. There we go. So fish is in the net. Peel off some line. Gonna take my little umbilical cord here and secure the rod. If it accidentally slides off the boat, I'm not gonna lose it. Small productive lakes like those found in the Parklands region are perfect for float tubes and pontoon boats. As I prepared my gear for this trip, I decided to bring my float tube and my frameless blow and go pontoon boat. After spending some time chasing tigers in my float tube, I wanted to change things up. So I switched to my frameless pontoon boat. The portability of today's float tubes and pontoon boats makes them a perfect option for the traveling fly fisher, especially those visiting the Parklands. Want to get that line on the reel because it could catch on an oar, foot peg, your fins, which would be even worse. Just give this a little side pressure. This feels like a good fish. It's got a good bend in the rod. Just fishing foam-based backswimmer patterns. Flow tubes, pontoon boats, excellent watercraft for the Parklands. Allows you to move up and down the shoreline and take beautiful fish like this one. Off you go, big guy. I think I'm gonna keep doing this all afternoon. During our stay, I had the chance to meet and talk with Brock Kutecki from Swan Valley Sport Fishing Enhancement about their role in enhancing the Parklands region fisheries.
So the Swan Valley Sport Fishing Enhancement Group is just it's a community club of avid anglers. It was started in 1989 and incorporated in 1990. It was a bunch of guys who just wanted to better the sport fishing in the North Parklands, Swan River Valley area. SVSFE's mandate focuses on fisheries research, fisheries enhancement, and education. Every lake is different, but in a general sense, what we've been doing to battle the encroachment of native species is we've been stocking less fish at bigger sizes in the spring. We've found that brook trout seem to do well with high white sucker populations, whereas rainbows don't seem to do as well on top of rainbow populations. We really like splake in the Duck Mountains. They seem to stock very well on top of prevalent perch populations. So we've been stocking splake at a low rate in addition to the rainbows and brooks and browns as kind of like a biocontrol. And that those splake also are a great sport fish species. They're easy to catch, they grow big, they're super aggressive, and they're long-lived. So anglers can help us out by just communicating with us. Just let us know what you're seeing in the field, what sizes of fish you're catching, if the fishing's been good or bad, if there's lots of perch, lots of suckers. All that information is very valuable. And then we can adjust our plans and assess and work on those fisheries as we get these reports, because we can't be everywhere at once.
No trip to the Parklands region would be complete without dedicating at least one day to pursue tiger trout. Although they can occur naturally, the Parklands tiger trout are a brown and brook trout hybrid stocked by the province. Tiger trout are aggressive, and in the right conditions, such as those found in the Parklands, can reach gargantuan sizes, well over 20 inches in length. As the fall sets in, I expect to find tigers prowling the shallows, feeding on anything they see, including leeches, minnows, water boatmen, and their larger backswimmer cousins. We've just had a cold front come through, some weather, and it seems to have put the fish down. We are marking them right on the bottom with our electronics. So that means we've got to choose a system that's going to get our fly down there and keep it there right where they are, because they're not willing to chase. So for doing this, a long rod is preferred, 9.5, or even better, 10 feet. This provides a good roll cast, which is a great cast to use with indicators. The leader is a thin, level leader. I'm using a nymphing or indicator leader that features a short butt section of about 3 feet. The rest of the leader is level, because with indicator fishing, you want the leader between your indicator and your fly or your flies to be totally level so it sinks straight down vertically. If you use a standard tapered leader like a 9-footer, roughly 4.5 feet or half of its length, it's thick butt section, and thick leader material sinks slower than thin leader material, and you're going to have a leader that doesn't sink straight down but rather comes off in an arc, and that's going to rob you of critical presentation depth, because we have to get these flies right on the bottom where the fish seem to be holding. We're going to use a balanced leech, something we can sit there and just let that wave action of the indicator, we're probably not even going to retrieve this much or at all, just to let that wave action, basically let Mother Nature fish the fly for us. Fly line is important too. You want to use a fly line that is dedicated to fishing nymphing rigs, for example. These are going to have large, oversized heads, maybe 1 or 2 line weights heavier, so a 6-weight line with an 8-weight head, short front taper. This puts all the mass at the front of the line, and that mass is going to turn over both the thin diameter leader and multiple flies and the leader length. That's the setup we're going to use. Let's see if we can make it work. So we're anchored up in about 8 feet of water. To my left, it's quite shallow. It kind of falls off. There's a weed edge, and we're sitting just on the deep water side of the weed edge. It's anywhere from 8.5 to 9 feet deep. But on my electronics, I've been marking fish, big red sausages, hugging tight to the bottom. So I need to make sure my fly is down there. So what we're going to do to see if we can get one of those big fish is I've attached a little weight to my fly, in this case a vampire leech, and I'm going to lower it over the side, right down till it hits the bottom. I've got my quick release indicator. Just going to slide that right to the surface. And then where the indicator is sitting, to this little tip connection, that's about a foot, and that's where I want to be. I want to be just off the bottom, because that's where the fish are cruising. And by doing it this way, I know exactly where my fly is, and I can present it properly to them. Because I'm just waiting, I'm fishing really close, so I can react to the take. That's the plan. Let's see if we can put it together. So right by the boat, fishing indicators, fishing slow. We're a little after some weather change. The fish don't seem to be happy. And I was just about to recast this. I literally had barely a rod length of line out, because we have been marking fish on the electronics from time to time right below us, and we're sitting in 8.5 feet just off the edge of a weed bed to my left. Yeah, and this is a big tiger, big tiger. Ate the vampire leech, suspended a foot off the bottom. I was literally going, all of a sudden the indicator just went under and I barely had enough line to set the hook on him. This is probably one of the primary reasons people come to the Parklands, because the tiger trout here grow big. That is a monster tiger. Into the basket, as I love to say. That is a quality Parklands trout. Oh. And the fly, I believe, has popped out. Yep, barbless hooks. What a beautiful fish. Will he work his way out? This is like bass fishing. I'm fishing a suspender popper, casting it into the tules, into the gaps, into bad places to put a fly. And this is making a little wake, and this big tiger just exploded on it. It appears to be in its beautiful fall colors, orange. You can use, more realistic flies, like you could say this one is a popper fry pattern, or you could use a Chernobyl. Anything that makes a wake, they're going to think that's a distressed or injured bait fish and come up and eat it. So I was worried when I first hooked him that he was going to get into the tules and I wouldn't be able to control him. So now I just need to read my line and keep it out of the anchor rope. That'll be the next challenge. Beautiful fish. Man, that's fun. There he is. That popper fry, suspender fly pattern right in the side of his mouth there. Let him settle down. You can look in the net, see it right there. Look at that. Right there in the corner of his mouth. Just a little, basically like a little zonker, just hook it in the net there, with a foam post on it. So that foam post holds the rest of the fly just under the surface and creates a wake. And this guy came up and whacked it. So I'm just going to take him from the other side of the boat to the downwind side where it's a little less cluttered. 1, 2, 3, over we go. Oh. How is that for colors? What a beautiful fish, and to take it on the surface. Well, we've got the wind is finally starting to die down. We're starting to see fish roll. So what we're going to do is, using my 6-weight here, floating line, short leader, and we believe the fish are either rolling on minnows that gather in the shallows here, or backswimmers, or perhaps even water boatmen, their smaller cousins. So we're using foam-based patterns because the water we're sitting in is 3.5 feet with weeds growing up. So we got very little water work, so a floating line setup is ideal. Just going to make a long cast, let the fly settle, short little strips to get these flies to create a wake, see what we can pull up. There we go. Fish on, ate it. This is a nice looking tiger, beautiful colors on it. They're sterile, but they still get on these beautiful colors that are a blend of both their brook trout and brown trout heritage. So we're fishing short leader here. We've got some breeze. I probably got 7.5 feet of leader to a floating pattern of mine called the Greater Water Floatman. The greater water boatman is the term the English, I believe, give for the backswimmer. So I have a foam-based water boatman pattern called the Water Floatman. So its larger brother only made sense to call it the Greater Water Floatman. And there he is, beautiful colors. Why I love tiger trout, because of their aggression. So this is why you fly fish lakes in the fall and come to the Parklands to shake hands with beautiful fish like that. I hope you enjoyed today's show, learned a little bit more about fall stillwater fly fishing that you can apply here in the Parklands or on your home waters. For more information on this show and others in our series, please visit us on the web at thenewflyfisher.com, and don't forget to follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We'll see you next time.
The New Fly Fisher is supported by Travel Manitoba, Scientific Anglers, Trout Unlimited, WeatherTech Canada,